Hello, my name's Rob Rutherford. I'm the Managing Director of Red Metal, and I'll take you through a little profile of Red Metal and what we're up to at the moment. For those of you who are active in Australia or from overseas, there's been a wealth of new discoveries driving major and junior investment in Australia over the last 2 years. Most notable, I've listed a few here. There's been a very large iron oxide copper gold discoveries at Oak Dam by BHP and Cannington in the Gawler Craton. We've seen the Winu discovery and the Havieron discoveries in the Patterson province in Western Australia. There's a new high-grade gold and copper systems. More recently, there's been a wonderful magmatic nickel discovery from Julimar, called Julimar with Chalice Gold Mines, which has been well received by the market. The Pilbara, which was once thought of as a pretty poor gold province, starting to prove itself with a wonderful discovery, multi-million-ounce shallow discovery by called Hemi with the Grey. And there's been another significant gold-copper porphyry system in New South Wales, potentially another Cadia with Boda and Alkane. We're all familiar with the Fosterville's Kirkland discovery, which really drove the market with its bonanza gold grades. And there's even in Victoria also, there's another discovery, Thursday's Gossip, which has got some nice high-grade shallow copper gold silver systems. These discoveries are really driving junior sentiment and investment in the Australian market. And I guess the real question is where next and who'll be next? Well, one thing that's missing on that list is probably Queensland. It's a wonderful tier 1 jurisdiction with lots of big base metal deposits. And I'd argue that it's probably the next place where you're going to see your tier 1 discovery come out. And Red Metal is really well placed to be part of that potential discovery. And really through our joint venture and our strategic alliance with Oz Minerals, under that arrangement, Oz Minerals have the opportunity to drill 6 of our big base metal projects with their proof of concept work, and we get to contribute at 49% at the discovery stage. I'll run you through a few of those projects. Most notably Mount Skipper, which is one we're about to drill in Q3, which is a Cannington lookalike, and I'll talk a little bit about the Gulf, which is really where we're following the extension of the Cloncurry terrain under cover to the north. We're probably doing some drilling on some nice copper brecciate plays there in Q4. We're doing some really innovative work. We're using MT, looking for big shale basins undercover north of Google River, and I'll show you that one. We're going to be drilling those in Q3. All goes to plan. Similar, we got the ground immediately north of Century on the deposit, and we're trying MT there for the first time. And we've also got some wonderful sort of Havieron and Winu geophysical analogues following the extension of the Patterson terrain undercover to the north. I'll take you through those. Underlying all this is our Murano deposit, which is a fairly advanced project and a significant resource. And we're about to consider trialling some 2D seismic over that to see if we can de-risk the deep drilling. So I'll whip you through some of these and we'll see how we go. This is Cannington. Cannington was probably the largest silver lead zinc mine producing lead silver mine in the world. It paid its capital of 3.5 times a year for 5 years in the China boom. It's a discrete bullseye mag anomaly. Red Metal's got a similar mag anomaly that we've been targeting down here. We put our first hole into it last year, missed the mag target, but got all this spotted silmonite rock, which is exactly like the halo rocks you see around Century. So we think we might have the target by the tail there, and we'll be going back to drill the second hole onto that in Q3, probably July, if all goes to plan. As I said before, we're following the Cloncurry terrain north undercover from 150 to 600 metres of cover generally. It's an underexplored terrain. The gravity in that area is literally only on 4 by 4 kilometres, so it's really quite underdeveloped compared to, say, South Australia. We've got a bunch of iron oxide copper gold brecciate. We're going to be drilling a couple of those with Oz's funding in Q4 this year. But you also see we have the extension of the Google River terrain north undercover, and there we've been doing this innovative MT surveying, and that is showing up some really interesting stuff. The MT surveying is mapping these huge conductors, stratigraphic conductors, underneath 400 metres of cover. So no electrical technology could ever see through that, but we're using MT technology, which uses the Earth's natural fields, and highlighting some really spectacular big stratigraphic conductors look everything like the conductors that host the giant lead deposits at Mount Isa and the copper deposits at Mount Isa. That's in the Urquhart Shale. This just shows you the conductor layer here in the Mesozoic, which is 2 to 3, 400 meters thick. We're mapping big conductors in the basement, which we think may be whole new shale basins that have never been tested. We'll be putting some proof of concept holes into those in the fourth quarter of this year, August. We're also applying similar technology for the first time, that MT technology north of Sentry, where we've secured the ground, and we're trying some new models there. But we're also in playing around, as I said, we've got the extension of the Patterson terrain undercover to the north. This terrain's got some wonderful it's got Telfer, it's got Nifty, and it's got these new discoveries at Winu and Havron. They have very discrete magnetic bullseye anomalies. We've got some of those that we're going to be testing. You can see on this image the gravity trend here, which defines a major structure. We have a little mag anomaly on that. That's Rio's Winu discovery. If you follow it south, Havron is a little mag anomaly. And these little magnetic anomalies here could be another Havron or Winu type play. I've got 3 minutes now to just give you a brief introduction to Murano. Murano is a largish, moderate-sized, moderate-grade base metal lead silver deposit. It's got an overprinting copper system. It's a bedded exhalative system, a bit like Cannington, a bit like Broken Hill, and it's overprinted by these copper-gold-rich systems. What excites us about this project is that it is zoning and it's becoming much higher grade in zinc, and there's also higher grade in silver as we go deeper in the drilling, but also the copper and gold system is showing better grades at depth. We're currently planning to do a 2D seismic, trial some 2D seismic over that, see if we can de-risk some of the deeper drilling. This is just a level plan that shows the various lead loads in the blues, and the green is the copper breccia system in the core of it. The thing that gets us going is really these grades. We've got tier 1 grades, 22% lead, 600 silver, primary bedded mineralisation at depth. We're getting zinc coming in breccias that's been remobilised, but not from far, very big distance, which got quite spectacular grades. We're hoping that this is an indication of something at depth. These systems are basically vents. It's spelling on the sea floor, ancient vents, and Murano, we feel, is out on the bent apron. We haven't yet found the bent core. Ours, unlike that, ours is tipped up on 70 degrees, and all the drilling to date is out on the bent apron. And the indications for the increased silver and increased zinc at depth suggest there's a vent core we've yet to find. This similar sort of situation is seen at Cannington. You've got some 40-odd million tonnes of 15% lead zinc and 500 silver as the vent core. And out on the apron, there's 70-80 million tonnes of 8% lead, zinc, and 200 silver, and that's also being mined at the moment. We haven't found this core yet, and we're trying to be trialling 2D seismic to see if we can map that deeper part of the system. Interestingly as well, as I touched on, the copper grades are increasing at depth. At the top of the system, it's mostly a pyrrhotite breccia. As we go down, the chalcopyrite content's increasing, and we're seeing intercepts like 115 metres at 0.8 copper and half a gram gold. And we're seeing, in places we see where all the chalcopyrite is taken out the pyrrhotite, where it's copper sulfides instead of iron sulfides, we're seeing spectacular grades of about 3% copper and 5 grams gold, similar to the nearby Eloise mine. So that was it in brief. There's my contact. Please feel free to make contact with me to talk about any opportunities. There's a lot more projects in here than that I haven't spoken about. We're always open to joint ventures, and shareholders, if you want to ring us, please feel free to make contact. I'll be in the chat rooms, and you can make contact with me there as well. So hopefully next time you see me talk, it'll be about the next great base metal discovery in Queensland. Thank you very much.